Yeah. Uh-huh. 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 Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. 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 Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I want to welcome you this evening to tonight's edition of Yes, You with Friends. And it is so good to be here on this Sunday evening. Yes, y'all, can you believe that this is August and the 8th day of August in the year 2021? We are moving. I'm telling you, we are moving and moving at a fierce pace. And the year is almost over. Lord Jesus, can you believe? The year is almost over. I want to welcome everybody that's in here tonight. I'm glad for all of my family and friends. Mel Holiday, I want to say good evening to you. So glad to have you with us. And yes, we might just need to go for a ride and come back alone tonight because we got a conversation and a topic for you this evening. We hope we're going to still be friends when it's over. We're going to still be friends, but we're going to have some real conversation up in here today. I want to say I am so appreciative, main man. I see you out there, and I'm glad I got some more brothers out here. Truck driver 57, I'm gonna need you tonight. I'm gonna need you tonight. Tyrone's gonna need you tonight, brother truck driver. I'm so glad that you are here. I'm just trying to tell you. LaWanda Baskerville, so glad to see you. Mino 3782, so glad to see you. And Tall Pumps, you are back once more and again. This is 2 times of fun, Tall Pumps, and 2 times of fun for you too, truck driver. I'm so glad that you all came back to see us again. And obviously, the Rebel Ink, that's my girl. She just keeps us going on and keeps us together. Whatever the weather, our hair stays together. And with all of that, I want to turn it over to my friends. Yes, Jonna, my hair stays together. My edges, where my edges? My edges, are my edges okay?
Yeah, just like good.
Okay. I want to say good evening to my friends, Jonna and Tyrone. And I want to just step back and let them have a nice intro, whatever's going on in their world today, whatever they want to talk about to get us started before we get this party crack-a-lacking. Because I'm telling you what, it's going to be on tonight. We got a conversation for you. And we'll start ladies first.
Well, good evening, everybody. This week was good. It was really busy. Really, work was really, it was a heavy week. And outside of that, we had to, one of my babies is going to be down for the next couple of weeks. So we had to cram the rest of the summer into this week.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was, and these kids, they are so full of energy. They just don't ever get tired. So we
See,
just running all over the place. doing whatever we could do to cram the rest of their summer in the one more week. So it was a week.
It was a week.
A week, yes.
Lord
We ended
Jesus.
the week yesterday or the day before, I don't know, getting ready for school, which I would rather pull my eyelids over my skull than take these 3 girls shopping, and it's getting worse every year.
Oh my God. You got teenagers. Well, no. You got a preteen and some young ones, but wait till all of them. Oh my God. I'm praying for you right now.
Yeah, it was interesting, but we made it, and I got it done in under 5 hours, so that was good.
Under 5 hours.
Yes.
Lord Jesus. Well, bless your heart. Tyra, go ahead, John.
I'm done. Other than that, it's good. We've been doing good. So
Awesome. Tyrone. Please call Tyrone. What's up, my man?
Well, things here in Texas are, pretty much things here in Texas. Work has been extremely busy, but for good reasons. So that's always good, staying busy. Well, we pretty much always stay busy. I'm sure here, like most other places, we're starting to see that increase in, COVID cases again. Yes. And of course, here in Texas, we have, our good old governor.
Mr. Abbott.
He's doing his governor things. So, there's no restrictions on masks. And I believe almost every day at work, we get emails about, they're shutting down an office because someone tested positive and this, that, and the other. So I'm starting to see a lot of that at work because we work with the public so much. But like I said, our good old governor, he's doing what he's doing. I also found out, actually, meeting with the family on Friday, that September 1st goes, our governor signed into act that you can carry a gun without a license or training. So it's anybody can carry a weapon here in Texas starting September 1st with no license and never being trained. So that's concerning.
Oh my God.
That's been the case here for a while now.
But other than that, I mean, it was a pretty good week, warm. They say next week is supposed to be even hotter. And just getting ready for another busy week. But being busy is good. That's a good thing.
Oh Lord, it is a good thing. It is a good thing. But the heat and busy, I don't know about that.
Busy is a different story. That's when you gotta go to court.
You see,
with long sleeves.
You're gonna go in there and you're gonna be mad already when you go in there and have an attitude, and you gotta try to make that shift and that adjustment.
Right.
Oh Lord Jesus. Well, we're gonna pray your strength. We're gonna pray your strength. We certainly are. Now, as we get ready to embark on this conversation, I'm gonna put a little funny in here before we get going. But I gotta stop because you know what? There's something that is mighty, mighty peculiar that's going on right now. Oh, y'all. Oh. Let me wait, be still and know. Oh, up above my head, I hear thunder in the air. There must be a Shelly somewhere. Shelly Thunder is in the room. She's in the room, y'all. The prophetess is here, and she brought the thunder with her. I saw the lightning flash, and I heard the thunder roll. Oh, Lord. She's here, y'all. She's here. Shelly Thunder, welcome to the room. Y'all know I got to do that. I have to do that because, I just have to clown really, really good because, listen, I got thunder and she's here. That's my girl. That's my girl. Y'all know I'm just clowning. I love you, Shelly. I love you, girl. And I'm so glad that you're here. Now, I'm going to try, y'all bear with me in these new configurations because I'm in a new studio today and we're going to try to get this right. But I want to share something with you all, just in the way of a little comedy before we get started on this. This conversation might get deep and heavy tonight, y'all. So I need all the men to stay present because Tyrone's gonna need all the help he can get.
That's an assumption.
Oh, okay. That is an assumption. Tyrone doesn't need no help. He got this covered all by himself. He don't need your help. He got this handled all by himself. Good evening, BTD Mom. He's got this handled all by himself. So y'all get ready. You just be on standby just in case. Just in case. Be on standby. But I want to do this little funny before we get started. And this is actually Miles Monroe. Some of you all may not remember him. A very prolific writer and a profound teacher. He and his wife were killed in a plane crash some time back. But this is a little comedy that he did. And I want to share this with you all. And I hope you all enjoy it before we start our conversation on tonight.
One time a lady came to me and she said, Pastor Miles, my husband got a demon. I said, really? She said, yeah, he's a nymphomaniac. And Pastor, he's one of your elders. You got to pray for him. I said, what's the problem? He wants it all the time. In the morning, in the night, in the midday, at lunchtime, dinner time, supper time. Even when I'm sleeping, he wakes me up. And I'm wondering, he's got a demon, Pastor Miles. You got to pray and help me. He needs deliverance. I say, honey, I can't help you because I got the same demon.
Okay, Pastor.
Now, how many of y'all think is a whole lot of folk out there got the same demon?
Same demon.
Now, what I did enjoy about this, because he kind of brings up an issue that a lot of times we don't want to deal with in church, and that is the reality that we are sexual beings, and we really, really are. I probably should have pulled that out when we do Between the Navel and the Knee, but I saw that this week, and it just tickled me. So I said, let's start with just a little bit of levity and a little bit of humor on tonight. So I hope y'all enjoyed that little tickle, because it blessed my socks off. Yes, there's many. Truck drivers said touchdown. It's a whole lot of. Tyrone, do you think it's a lot of? Do you think a lot of that's out there? It ain't no demon, honey. It's right. The real thing.
It's human.
Johnny, what did you think about it?
I wouldn't call it a demon. I mean, it is what it is, Reverend.
See,
like Monica said, get you some. Whatever.
Get you some. Oh Lord. Anyway, as we move on through the night, and I'm gonna say this, and I think it's gonna be a wonderful conversation. Now, y'all know last week we really got heated, we really got excited, we really got energetic. When we had our conversation, and Jonna was sharing the things that were on her heart that she'd like to bring out, and she started speaking to women's issues, and immediately we kind of had a little hiccup. Can I call it a hiccup, y'all? Would y'all say it was a hiccup?
I wouldn't say it's a hiccup because we're already starting to set the tone as if I interjected. So we can just say the conversation continued, and then we go from there.
Okay, the conversation continued, y'all. The conversation continued. Jonna, why are you laughing?
Because it was a hiccup.
It wasn't a hiccup.
It was a hiccup.
No, because the way it was presented was Jonna was stating and she was speaking to the women, and then there was a hiccup. So then the hiccup would be me when I stepped in and said what I said. So we're already setting the tone. So I wouldn't call it a hiccup. I would say the conversation, was directed in a different direction, and then we went from there. There we go.
Okay, we'll
It's all good though.
It is. So at the end of the day, whatever it was, the conversation continued. I'm gonna go with that, Tyrone. Okay, and as we continued, we got deeper and deeper into the I'm trying to choose my words wisely here. We got deeper and deeper into some of the differences, some of the different vantage points and perspectives that we have, especially in the Black community between males and females. So as that conversation evolved and got into it, we backed into it, and I do have to applaud both of you because we got it was tense and kind of tight there for a second, but we finally got over that and got into conversation. Would you not agree on that?
Yes.
And conversation, we've all agreed, is what we really need. So we decided to come back and revisit the conversation about the male and the female Black community conversation that needs to be had. And so tonight I want to kind of delve in from the point of trusting one another. Black men trusting women, Black women trusting men. And I'm just going to kind of set the stage with that. The question tonight, why don't you trust me? I think the reality of it right now is a lot of times within the community, there is a breakdown of trust that happens between our males and our females. And so we get strangulated sometimes in our conversations when we're trying to communicate and express ourselves, because there's the men kind of get in their feelings, the sisters kind of get in their feelings. And so we've got to come to a point where we can build a bridge where we can really trust each other and start talking through some of these conversations. With that being said, I'm gonna do a ladies first, only because of ladies first. Is that sexist?
Just slightly, but go ahead.
We can do men's first.
No.
Let's do men's. Let's do men's.
It's. I'm just saying, as we evolve into this new world.
Let's do men's first. Men's. Come on, men. We're gonna do men's.
Didn't I say something about the S on possessive words last week? And here I am talking about men.
No, I said men's first. I said it. You probably repeated what I said, Johnny, because I said men's. Let's get the men's perspective. Men's first. Go ahead, Tyrone.
And as a gentleman, I'm gonna say a right that I have. I would let the ladies start first.
Tyrone, they say get your red cup out. You won't need it.
No, y'all gonna need it. That's the thing. That's what's gonna gag you. All y'all gonna sit on the edge of y'all bed tonight and say, you know what? I've been doing this thing wrong. But go ahead.
Oh, he's gonna get converts tonight, Johnny. He's after converts.
Well,
bringing it all. It's all gonna come full circle. But go ahead.
Okay, what am I going first on? What's the question? Am I answering the question? Why don't you trust me?
Yes, that's where we are. We're going to start right there, and let's start laying this foundation and get this conversation crack-a-lacking.
Okay, so from my perspective is why the divide between the Black man and the Black women. Why don't you trust me? To answer that question, honestly, I would start with saying it's because I have been taught not to. Hold it before you start applauding yourself.
I'm sorry.
He felt Jesus right there. But anyway, go ahead.
Let me get your oil out because you might need it in a minute. That's going to be the foundation for me. I have been taught not to, and probably from other women, not just in my family, but just other women in general, socialized not to. And then all of those teachings were reinforced by who? The Black man. Reinforced. Yes, he did.
Now you know why the women taught you that.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Now, I'm not saying that's correct. Now, and I will say this was a younger version of myself. Today, I don't feel that way. But from a little girl up into adulthood, that was the main thing I was taught not to. You absolutely do not, and that was it.
Okay. Now I'm gonna put a nail in it right there. Hold your thought. Now Monica said Tyrone. Jonna said hold your mule. And then after Jonna made her awesome start to her conversation, Mel said, "Now clap."
And Mel, no, I'm ready to clap.
Now, Jonna, truck driver, is having a reaction. He said, "What the what? What the what?"
I know people are going to react to that, but if we get honest and
If you're
really take a
honest,
good look at that, we are taught, especially little girls, are taught not to trust Black men. And then the very ones that they're taught not to trust play it out as to why they shouldn't right in front of them.
I don't agree with that.
Tyrone, are you talking under your breath?
Oh no, I'm sorry.
A response to a rebuttal to Jonna, and then I want you to lay the foundation of your premise tonight.
I mean, I totally agree with Jonna when she makes the point that, you know, at the end of the day, male or female, we're taught to distrust certain situations, which plays out into, you know, the dynamics of who we are generationally.
Mhm.
So that part I do agree with. I slightly don't agree totally that, you know, some of the things that you're taught to distrust in someone actually gets played out by that person. I feel like there's a part of that becomes something that you're just looking for.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah.
Okay, now go right ahead. Now, Jonna, hold in mind, because truck drivers like, "Are you for real?" And that's in
And
all
the
caps.
answer is yes. Yes, sir, in all caps.
What is truck driver concerned about when he says, "Are you for real?" The part of being taught, or
I think, well, I don't know. We probably do need
Yeah,
to
we'll let
clarify.
truck driver clarify. Are you struggling with the fact of little girls and young ladies being taught not to trust the men, or are you struggling with the end result of the conversation, which is that males tend to play out exactly what little girls and young women have been taught not to trust men for? So can you clarify on that? In the meantime, Mel said she wasn't taught that, but her experience led her to not just deal with Black men, period. So there we have that there. Now, truck driver's going to give us a clarification, and then I'm going to ask the sisters out there. Any sisters out there that you feel like as you were coming along, there was something that was, whether it was overt or covert, whether it was obvious or whether it was cloaked. Do you feel that you were taught as a Black woman not to trust Black men? Put a 1 in the chat if you feel like you were not in any way, shape, or form taught or encouraged not to trust the Black male. Sisters, give me a 2. So give me a 1 if you agree. Yes, you got signals, messages, and undercurrent. Don't trust Black men. And give me a 2 if your answer is no. And Tyrone, in the meantime, as we're waiting on clarification from truck driver and our sisters to give us 1s and 2s down in there, let's hear what you have to say from your perspective.
okay, so some things are already a little concerning for me. But so for me, when it comes down to the trust between the Black male and the Black female, I feel like it goes like way back. And I feel it started with like through like slave trade, where men would be sold off away from their family. And there was probably that dynamic of he was supposed to protect you, but now he's gone. And that dynamic turned into this whole generational thing where the Black male's experience has pretty much been taken away, and his narrative has been that he's not trusted, that he's, you know, not a good guy. I mean, even looking at Mel's experience, I don't know what the experience was, but she has an experience that tells her just not to deal with Black men. That's concerning, because as a Black male, I'm going into a situation with a male where I already know I'm looked at as untrusted. So that's concerning. But I feel there's a huge breakdown amongst our community as a whole where we already have trust issues. And I feel the trust dynamics between the Black male and the Black woman is partially because the Black male's experience is never acknowledged. And I feel the narrative that's always put out about Black men, and I actually read an article today written by a Black woman, and she, in the article, and I can send it to all of y'all, not making this up, she ended her article saying, niggas ain't shit. And she was talking about Black men and the way Black men have done all this stuff to Black women. We've oppressed Black women. We've done all this stuff to Black women. And doing my research, all I found was articles about how the Black man ain't nothing. The Black man hasn't done this. And that this has been taught generationally after generation after generation to people. And that's where that distrust come in. As a Black man, the narrative of my Black sister is I ain't shit. So am I supposed to then trust you? And again, I did research on this all week because that's what we said we was going to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In every article, even when we talked last week, it was a narrative that due to facts, what it was like 70% of what Black women felt that Black men didn't support them and 30% did, or whatever the data is. That's the narrative that's put into this world. So as a Black man, am I supposed to trust my sister to support me when there's no narrative out there that says any different?
Okay, you got an amen from Truck Driver. He said that's true. All caps. Truck Driver's feeling real strongly about this. All caps. That's true.
It is. Because we rally behind that narrative that the Black man, like I said, I read an article and she ended saying niggas ain't shit. And most times when we say niggas, we're not talking about a woman. And especially when the article is talking about the complex of the relationship between Black men and Black women. But if that was flipped, there would be a rally. Why would a Black man say that about a Black woman? That's just the world we live in. And then we wonder why there's that dynamic of trust. I can't get anybody who got my back per the narrative, per the facts, and we're going off facts, not experiences, right? In the chat we see right now, people are saying their experiences have turned them against Black men. It's not my experiences turned me against men. My experiences have, given me distrust in people, but their experiences have turned them against Black men.
Well, no, now let's clarify that a little bit, because to answer the question about being taught against Black males, we had a majority of people that responded that said, no, there is no teaching. Now, but
there is teaching
right here. No, but hold on now. You said they said in the chat. Now, Mel said in the chat that she has had experience, but what I'm saying is the rest of the individuals. Good evening, Miss O'Diddy 76. Welcome to the Lion's Den. BTD Mom, Miss O'Diddy, Mel, Mino, and others. I'm scrolling on down. They were like, no, this has not been taught to them. And then let me give BTD Mom, who said, in defense of Black men have also had bad experiences also. So it was not a avalanche of people in this chat tonight, females, saying negative about Black men. So,
and I'm not saying that the majority of the chat, but I'm saying, just like what Jonna was said, there is that narrative. She was taught. Her first experience was, I was taught not to trust, due to someone else's experience. And then as she got older, she was able to make her own decisions. But that's true.
Now, it's interesting that you use that term, niggas ain't ish, because at the end of the day,
that's what I read. I'm only saying it because that's what I read.
And I want to jump in and interject. I have a young, early 30-something female who had a bad experience with a dude that dogged her out and was two-timing and this and that and the other. And this is the thing that she said to me. Now deal with this. She said, like my father said, niggers ain't ish. That's what not from her mother. Okay. She got that from her father. And And then, thank you, Brenda Munson, and welcome to the Lion's Den. At the end of the day, to come back to what Jonna said. Now, number one, she got that given to her by her father, not her mother, about black males. And then the black male actually carried it out and executed it with the 2-time and then the line and everything else that went along with that, and all other kinds of abuse that went along with that too. So as we were working through her journey, she repeatedly says, like my daddy said, niggas ain't ish.
And I will, if I can interject there, I will say I got a lot of the no trusting from other women, but I got it probably equal from men in my family as well. You know, they sit down, I'm gonna tell my baby, my little sister, my niece, same.
And my point is, in that, and I totally agree with all of that. And my point is, like I stated when I started, there's a bigger issue with our community with trusting it as a peer, as a whole.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And if I'm hearing, whether it's male or female, that I ain't nothing, it's coming from both. To me, a big part of that plays into the trust between the black men and black women, but that shows a bigger picture of we just have trust issues altogether, because apparently there's no support on either end.
I can hear that. I'm gonna go back and pick up a few more of these comments. Brenda came in saying, I love black men. All men are black, white, and others. She love everybody. Any male, honey. She love them all. She said, bring them here. And Mel said, I'm gonna trust you until you give me a reason. And then Monica dealt with the idea. I'm gonna go back up and pick that up because I don't want to lose it. Male predators. She's experienced male predators when it comes to molestation and rape, and she has a very hard time with it. And that's just her personal experience that she's sharing. Yeah. There are many females that have that same testimony, and so I can understand that. Chris G said, I wasn't taught not to trust black men, but I don't trust some black men because of the bad experiences I've had with black men. So what I'm hearing more so to me may be a matter of people weren't necessarily taught to distrust black men, but they got in cases and scenarios where they were burnt in relationship with black men. Do y'all feel that that's an accurate, I'm just looking at the conversation that we're having here. Does that seem like that's the consensus that we're getting from our viewers? And then of course, Main Man said, as a black man, I could give 7 good rooster pots about being trusted. I take things on a case by case basis.
Right. And as soon as a man says, well, I don't trust black women, it's going to be a totally different narrative, whether y'all want to agree with it or not. Well, he go to white women. He do this to white. He leaving the sisters. And if a black man said, well, my experience, I grew up with a bad mother. I was molested and raped by women, this, that, and the other. And I don't trust black women. It would be a totally different narrative. And you're probably not going to agree.
Oh, no, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm listening. No. I'm not disagreeing. What we're trying to get here tonight is to try to understand how can we can actually deal with what is at the root of it, and dealing with how to overcome that root to get us to, because the bottom line for the community as a whole to heal, we're going to have to trust each other. Agreed. Right. We're going to have to trust each other. So I think even the idea of not caring, because listen, I think that we've got to figure out how to develop an avenue of trust between us. So now, Johnny, he threw in the mix the idea that black women are accusing black men of leaving black women to go after white women. And so he brought in that dynamic as an element of the distrust that exists in the community. Males to females. Communicate something to me on that.
That can be a problem for some. Me personally, I have 5 brothers. All 5 of them have experience with white women. Wait a minute, all 5 of them. It doesn't bother me until I hear I have to be with a white woman because I can't handle the black woman's nasty attitude. Now that's where I get the problem. For me, love who you love. It doesn't make me any difference, but don't count out from whence you came. The very people who birthed you, and you're gonna look down. No, now that I can't do.
But would you say the same if one of your homegirls said that? If you
Absolutely,
one of your homegirls said, "I can't do black men; they too aggressive for me.
I would.
They got too many
Because
baby
what are you
mamas."
talking about? If you're black, your daddy is black, or somebody is. So don't shun your own people because you got this, preconceived notion that all black men are a certain kind of way. And I think that's the problem on both sides.
Mhm.
We think I can't trust all black men. Well, that's not true. Some of them have issues, yes. Some of them don't. But not all black women have a nasty attitude. Or not all black women are too aggressive. That's my favorite. They're too aggressive. And hearing that stuff after a while, it gets old. And
Mhm.
then you get some aggression.
And then you've proved their point. No, I'm just joking.
No, you're not joking. You meant that.
No.
But go ahead.
No, I honestly didn't mean that because I hear that all the time, and then people make that point. Well, she got upset, so now she just proved that point. I mean, no, she's just passionate about how she feels. But then the bigger picture is, as a community, we don't trust each other. Because
Correct.
most
I
black
agree.
women don't trust other black women. Most
That's
black
a-
men don't trust other black men. You hear a lot of women say, "Well, I don't hang out with women." I mean, we have that. It's our community as a whole. We just don't trust each other.
Mhm.
Now I trust my black sisters. So and I'm not gonna say I don't trust black males, but I trust my black sisters, and the sisterhood that I have is extremely strong. So I don't do and I don't hang out with catty folks. If they're gonna be catty, then at that point, I don't have any interest, male or female. So it's a matter to me of what kind of energy you're bringing to me on either side. Because listen, it's some females out here that I'm going to run the opposite direction and spend as little time and space where they are. I'm just not going to do it. And there's some males in the same element. If you bring me that kind of energy, I'm going to cut tails and get up out of here because I don't have time for foolishness on either side. And for me, it's not gender driven. And I will say, for me, it is a matter of until you show me something different, I'm going to ride the wave. But I'm not one of those that does the stick and bury my head in the sand and act like I didn't see what I just saw. I saw what I saw. Now that game I'm not going to play. And if I saw something rank and something jacked up, listen, I saw what I saw. Now, I think more times than not, I will give people an opportunity to explain themselves. But the minute you start lying, I'm done. Stick a fork in me, I'm done because I'm not stupid.
Correct, and that's preference, and everybody should have a preference of whether it's male or female, black, white, whatever. What your tolerance level is for a group of people. But when we're talking about trust, even using the example of, and not speaking for all black people, when it comes down to business, most of us are going to deal with a white business person before we deal with a black one. And that's just we gonna patronize. We're gonna make excuses for those white restaurants that don't have napkins and food may come out cold. Oh, they just busy, this, that, and the other. But supporting a black business, our own people, to me, we're the hardest on. And that's the whole thing of we just don't trust our own. We've talked before about developing our own communities and having our own businesses and this, that, and the other. The sad part about it is we don't have the support of our own people to sustain it. And that's fact. And if we want to pull numbers, we can pull that.
I will say I think there's some reality to that, but I am one of those personally. I conscientiously look for black businesses and I support black businesses first and give them a priority if at all possible. Then I'll go to somebody if I cannot find a black business that's in operation in whatever given area. How do you feel about that, Jonna?
Well, I think there is some truth to it. I think it's changing over the past couple of years with everything that we've gone through. I think we are getting to a point where we can see the need to support each other and, try to get Black businesses and such to the forefront. So it's not changing fast enough. I think we could do better, of course, but I think we're making some progress on it.
And Mel said it's not actually true because good customer service has no color to me. And I'd probably say the same thing. If I'm in a white restaurant, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I don't care whether you Black, red, Chinese, or whatever. I'm going to say what I need to say. And so I don't necessarily agree that there's a difference. Good customer service is good customer service. Now, that's my opinion. But I do. Now, this is now. Okay, so let's deal with this as a reality since you brought up businesses. Because what I do find, and I don't think that it's only in the Black community, and so I'm gonna put this disclaimer in here. Now, I've seen a number. You run a business and all the money look good to you. I got you, Monica. I get you some, girl. Get you some.
Okay.
I will say that I do see more times than not within the Black community where we have an idea and we jump up and start doing something without informed information, details. And I literally, this is a true story. Now, so we got to deal with, when we're talking about trusting in the community, we got to trust to the extent when people show you who they are, believe them. Somebody said that earlier. Now, if you show me in the Black community, you tell me I'm a mechanic and I drive up to your house and you got somebody else's car in 1,000 pieces and none of them been put back together, I'm not going to patronize you.
Why? Maybe that car needs to be broken down in 1,000 pieces to be put back together.
Okay, take my figure of speech. Okay, so let me put it like this. Okay, this is a true story. I'm not making this up for the purpose of this conversation. I needed a plumber. One of my friends said, I have a friend that's a plumber. He can come over. Okay, and so I said, cool, because I'm going to try Black business first. So first and foremost, I get a call. Oh, my car's down. I need a ride. Okay, now I'm okay, but we're a business person, but okay. I'm gonna let my guard down and I'm gonna go give brother a ride. But come on now, come on. Okay, so I go pick him up, give him a ride. He comes out of the house in a 3-piece suit. Tyrone, he's a plumber.
And what does a plumber look like?
How was he gonna plumb at my house? How
With
was
his
he gonna?
tools?
He didn't have any tools.
Just some suit.
We got there. He started asking me about what I had.
See, oh boy.
So then you can't patronize him again.
Oh, baby, I didn't patronize him then because I took his tail back home. If you, number one, you ain't got a car. Number two, you come out dressed inappropriately. You're a plumber. You're not a preacher. You are a plumber. You come out dressed inappropriately, and then you don't have any tools and start asking to use mine. You're not going to work on my plumbing. You don't know what you're doing.
So if your beautician asks you for a ride, and when she gets to your house, she asks you, can she use your hair dryer? You gonna tell her you're done.
Number one, if my beautician needs a ride to my house to do my hair, depending on what the setup is, and I have given my beauticians a ride before. However, they had their own resources and it was a one-off situation. Number one, this is the first time this man ever met me from Adam. Now, I don't just go to a beautician and then she'd be like, can you give me a ride? My answer's going to be no. If that's my first time, my first encounter, and I got to give you transportation and pay you too, no, I'll do my own hair. Thank you very much. Now, this is some of the stuff that we have to deal with when you start talking about trust in the Black community. We've got to be accountable and we've got to be realistic. Do I have the tools and the skills to do what I'm saying I can do? And so it became a running joke with me and my friend. I said, he woke up this morning and said, I'm a plumber. That was when we saw each other. That was our running joke. I'm a plumber. That joker just woke up today and said, I'm a plumber. So this is something that we have got to deal with as far as finding some place of accountability. And I think this is a trust factor. To me, it still gets back to trust. If we are not accountable in the things that we do, if we're not accountable in the things that we say, if we're not accountable for no tools, Monica, he didn't have no tools. He wanted to use mine. He got over to my house and was like, do you have this kind of wrench and that kind of wrench? So listen, we've got to deal with the level of accountability at all levels when we start talking about trust, because I can't trust you if you're not accountable, whether it's being accountable with my feelings, whether it's being accountable to me and my gender, whether it's being accountable at whatever level. We've got to be accountable. It's hard to trust. You can't ask me to just blindly trust you when you haven't given me anything that speaks to accountability that will allow me to trust you. I think we need to have that conversation because we be playing some games.
Understandable, but that also impacts the dynamic of trust in the community overall, because you had a bad experience with a plumber. So I'm sure, well, I'm not gonna say I'm sure, for a lot of people having a bad experience, that experience dictates how they maneuver going forward. So I'm sure you're probably gonna do some different things next time you need a plumber versus listening to a friend to say, hey, I know this plumber. And that just grows over time. I had a bad experience with a man. I had a very bad experience with a woman. That's my narrative now that I'm putting into the world, and that continues to grow.
No, I ended up with a black plumber because I went to some of my friends and asked them for professional references, and I ended up with.
Now you need professional references.
Well, listen, I'll never get a plumber from my friend that I asked.
Or anybody else.
Come on,
no more recommendations from that person. Because come on now.
Yeah. If you're going to recommend and you tell me, I'm going on the strength of you recommending this individual, now that this joker comes out the house and needs a ride and comes out in a 3-piece suit and comes out with no tools, I'm going to be looking at you with side eye because you're the one that recommended him.
But maybe when they needed him, he only had to plunge their toilet.
Is that a plumber? I can plunge a toilet.
Is it a plumber?
No, it's not. It don't look like somebody can just plunge a toilet and that's all they can do.
I've never seen a plumber in a 3-piece suit. Never.
But what does a plumber look like? Maybe he just likes to be sharp. I mean, then we get into that whole thing of imagery of what people should look like. I mean, he's a plumber.
No. I can't go with you on that one. Hey, Brother Damon. Hey, Nancy. See you all in here. Good to see you. Listen, licensed. That's what a plumber looks like. Licensed.
But was that the requirement? Was the requirement you needed a licensed plumber? Or were you looking for a recommendation? So we got to be specific. Because if you didn't put that out there and say, I'm looking for a licensed plumber that wears overalls, has his own tools and his own car, and what you got was what you got, you can't hold that brother accountable.
I ain't got to ask nobody that has do they have a car? Do they have tools? Do you have, no, Tyrone.
That's a reach.
You're playing.
That's not a
reach right now.
We live in a day and time where you have to be specific.
Are you serious, Tyrone?
Yes. And then you can't fault somebody for not having what your expectation was.
Monica said she needs to see some butt crack if it's a real plumber.
So then we go back to, so now a plumber has to have butt crack out. I mean, and you don't understand why the black man has trust issues?
Oh my God, Tyrone, you were just over the top.
If I was a plumber, I would come in a 3-piece suit. Does that not make me official?
That means to me you're not a plumber. Because number one, it's not appropriate attire. That's not even appropriate attire for the job.
To you.
Okay, Johnny, I want to deal with the accountability. I want to deal.
I don't even know where we are right now. You call for a plumber, you get a model in a 3-piece suit, and sir, take the suit and your ill-prepared behind and go somewhere.
So I took him back home. That's what I did. I took him back home to his home. Somebody's home. I don't even know if he lived there. It might have been somebody else's house. Okay, so let's get back to the point of what I'm saying overall, because we're talking about trust here. We're talking about trust. We've got to have some level, and this is my issue here. We've got to have some level of accountability so that if we're talking about trust, I can't just blindly trust you and you are not giving me any reasons to trust you. Come on now. Now talk to me on that, because I think this is an issue that we've got to deal with in our community, that there has to be accountability that brings us to another level of having the ability to trust you.
And I think that's where we need to start, is that accountability to each other. And neither party wants to go there. Mm-hmm. Neither party wants to say, okay, generally, not specifically, but generally, there's been an issue in the Black family. This is what women have done to contribute to that. This is what men have done to contribute to that. We don't want to do that. So it just keeps going and going and going. It's like a blame game.
Now, if Tyrone, I'm not trying to pick on you, but you said you was ready. So all y'all men get ready out of here. You ready? Okay. This is my opinion. Okay. Your inability to deal with the lack of accountability of this guy as a plumber is the kind of stuff we deal with in our community, where we just keep making excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. And it's so far over the top that after a while, it's like, this just doesn't make any sense. Why can we not say he was inappropriately dressed? Why can we not say he was ill-equipped? Why can we not say he is somebody that's performing and providing a service? He needs to have some transportation or some means. Even if, to me, let me tell you, for real, it would have looked better for me even if he had made arrangements with his friend. Hey, I got a job over here at this woman's house. Can you give me a ride and take me? You gonna ask an absolute stranger to come pick you up and take you to the job site? And no. So this is my thing. When our community refuses to deal in what I feel is a level of reality, and then you turn around and say, but trust me, I can't trust you. I can't trust that for me, because you've gone so far over the top making allowances for this person to not be accountable, then trust is just blown all the way out the window for me.
But my thing with the Black community, when we talk about accountability, we can't pick and choose when we want to be accountable for our actions. And we've had conversations before when we talked about some of the bad choices that the Black community has made. And there was, comments made where, because we were enslaved years ago, we weren't accountable. So we can't pick and choose when we want to be accountable for our actions. So if we're going to be accountable for our poor actions and our poor decisions, that has to be consistent across the board. So should he be accountable for displaying that he's a plumber and showing up in a 3-piece suit with no car and no tools? Totally, 100%. But as a community, we have to be accountable for our actions across the board. And I'm gonna because I feel as the community, we want to pick and choose our accountability for this brother. Maybe he woke up this morning and said he wanted to be a plumber. Could have been his longtime dream. And he got this opportunity to come and work on your toilet. As the community, as we pull together and hold ourselves together, he needed that ride. And maybe he needed help with some tools. But do you know how maybe you could have impacted his life?
Get the knowledge. See, and that's where we're going to split.
The moment when we say to people, get the knowledge. Because we can find other situations where we can say, as Black people, we're not afforded that knowledge. We don't have that knowledge. We don't. And now in this situation, we say, oh, he needs to get the knowledge.
But you're billing yourself as a plumber, so you are a liar. You're not a plumber. You want to be a plumber. You're aspiring plumber. You want to take coursework to be a plumber, but sir, today you are not a plumber. So when you tell somebody I'm a plumber today, that is a lie. You are a liar, and the truth.
Who are we to judge?
Ain't no judge. You're not a plumber.
If I pull up right now with no arms, no legs, and look at you and say I'm a dancer, who are you to tell me I'm not?
I'm gonna tell you to wiggle.
But so I dance.
And listen, at the end of the day, but this is my thing. I don't expect to see you do a plie or whatever it's called, whatever you. Oh no, also you got some brothers in here fighting for you, man. But at the end of the day, if you told somebody you're a plumber and you don't have the skill set to be a plumber, you're not a plumber. That's a lie.
But did he tell you he was a plumber, or did your friend tell you he was a plumber?
He said he was a plumber because he came out the door perpetrating.
But who are we to tell this man he's not a plumber?
If you can't plumb,
that's another issue in the community.
If you have no tools to do the plumbing, then you're not a plumber.
Oh my God, y'all!
If you go to and order pizza and they bring you hamburgers, that ain't it. If you go to the strip club and they getting dressed in there, that ain't it. That's not what I paid for. I didn't pay for a 3-piece suit and taxi service.
Now, Oso was saying, how do we know he didn't have the skill set? Okay, I hear you. So the brothers are taking up for the brothers. I feel your pain, Tyrone. He's trying to feel you. Like Brenda said, the proof is in the pudding. He is not a plumber. So, now this is a good example of the breakdown between male and female. Because I feel the brothers, and the brothers are feeling Tyrone's pain. The brothers are having a whole element of how do we know he's not a plumber? Give this man a chance and da 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 da. Now I'm gonna tell you what. So this we started abstractly talking about a plumber and a job, but we can take this same mindset into relationships between male and female, and it's the same chasm that exists. Because females are like, he's not a plumber. And then that male that you're trying to be in a relationship is saying, but he is a plumber. And so now we had an impasse because you want to bring in this joker that doesn't have a car, that is in a 3-piece suit, that doesn't have any tools, that wants to use my tools to do the work and get paid. So the brothers are like, give him a chance. And the sisters are like, he's not a plumber. And therein is the impasse.
My thing is, you didn't even give the brother a chance.
The sink is still stopped up. He ain't plumbing.
Tyrone, when I went to pick him up, I gave him a chance. When he came out in the 3-piece suit, I gave him a chance because I could have told him right then and there, brother, you can't help me, go back in. I could have refused to transport him. When I got it,
you didn't know if he had just left a funeral. But he wanted to show up.
What's in that red cup? What is in that red cup?
But I'm saying, I mean, that's the life, that's the society we live in now. We have to ask those questions. We're assuming what this brother wasn't. We're saying he didn't have tools, he didn't have no car, he came out in a 3-piece suit, he couldn't have been a plumber.
And he wasn't. Tyrone, okay, so he comes in and starts looking.
But this is the narrative that black men deal with every day.
No, this is the truth because this is the reality of it.
Your truth.
No, it ain't my truth. Okay, let me finish. Let me finish. Because since my dad had 3 daughters and no sons, I would be up under the sink with my dad. I would be outside under the car of the hood with my dad. So part of that is you're not gonna sell me a bill of goods because when he opened his mouth, I knew he wasn't a plumber.
What does the plumber sound like?
He didn't know what he was talking about, Tyrone. The stuff that he was saying wasn't even correct. And this is, sisters, let me tell y'all. Okay, so now this is going to probably fall under the guise of not trusting. Know something about your car, because when they come out there and tell you anything and who shot John, you need to know whether or not it's accurate. And I knew when this joker started talking, he didn't know anything about plumbing because he didn't even know what to call the pipes. That's when I said you're going back home.
You and your suit.
You and your suit and your no tools, and I got to pick your tail up self. Go home. You wasted my time, my gas, and my resources. But y'all want to say this is what the black man is dealing with on a daily. What are we doing? He trying to shoot you some bail. What are we doing? What are we doing? And this, okay, so now let's carry this over into relationship between black male and female, whatever level. So then you have this kind of chasm that's going on between the two. And I'm going to go back to this, Tyrone. You're asking me to trust this man. You're asking me to trust this individual when he has shown himself untrustworthy. How far down the rabbit hole are you asking me to go? Good Jesus. How far down the rabbit hole do I have to go?
Not far at all. Your decision's already been made. It's a done deal at that point. This man was not equipped. He was not what he said he was going to be. He wasn't able to provide the service, and it's done.
And you feel like he was not provided ample opportunity?
He was provided all the opportunities he should have been afforded.
Okay, so accountability. How do you feel? Because I'm gonna try to get back to this element of accountability. Now, if I am dealing with accountability and trust, can you come from that angle for me, Tyrone? Accountability and trust, because I feel like this is part of the issue that we have in the community, because I chose to go to this example to move away from relationship to show how accountability in the black community is an issue. It is an issue.
And that, I totally agree.
If you want me to trust you, you've got to show me some level of accountability. So how do you feel this impasse that we have between female and male in the black community can be overcome when we have obviously different ideas of the level of accountability that should be present?
So there was a freeze on my end. So I only heard the very end about accountability being present.
Okay, so how far do you feel like we need to go? Because we're trying to, this breach between black male, black female in the community. How far do you feel like we need to go to be able to cover this breach that exists in accountability? And I really want to deal with the issue of accountability, because you can't trust folk if they're not going to be accountable. That's my opinion.
And totally, wholeheartedly, I feel that if a person's not accountable, then that trust issue comes in. I feel that a lot of times it's pointed out on the end of the male not being the one accountable, which starts that whole narrative that niggas ain't shit. Just being honest, my experience as a male.
Okay.
But I feel as a whole, as a community, we pick and choose when we want to be held accountable, male or female. Can
you give me an example, please, Tyrone? Can you give me Oh no, Oso said boom. He said boom. You need a pulpit. You got a fan out here.
Finally, somebody agrees with me.
Can you give me an example of what you're saying?
As far as the narrative, or
yes, you
picking accountability.
Yes, the narrative or the picking and choosing. I mean, because I'm not clear on what it is that you're expressing. I want to understand fully what you're expressing and how you're trying to express it. So I'm thinking maybe I can understand it more fully if you can give me a description or experience or something to help me understand.
So when we talk about the trust, because we were talking about the trust of, the relationship between male and female, especially in the black community, black males and black females, or trust in the community as a whole, I feel that the narrative is often put out that the black male is wrong. So when we talk about accountability, most times, most examples that are put out there is the black man who fooled us, did us wrong, lied to us, wasn't accountable. And that starts this whole narrative that, again, niggas ain't shit. I also feel that as the Black community, we pick and choose when we want to be held accountable. There are situations generationally, over time, situations that we deal with as Black people that we pick and choose when Black people should be accountable. You made a bad decision. And then this happened to Black people. They shouldn't be held accountable. They made bad decisions over time, but because of the system that we were set up in, it's okay. So
Such as. That's what I'm saying. Can you give me an example? Can you give me an illustration?
Such as we've had a conversation before. We were talking about mortgages and stuff, and of course there are systems and things put in place where the Black community, you know, we get higher interest rates. We fall into situations where we're not able to, you know, maintain the mortgages and things, this, that, and the other. I ask, but what happens when a person gets 3 or 4 mortgages that are bad for them? They get out one, the government bails them out, or we get whatever services out there to get them out of it. They fall into another one. They get services again. They fall into another one. It was said to me, but because of the systems we're put in, the government should continue to bail us out because systems are put in place to continue to put us in bad situations. And we talked about all this other stuff. And for me, those are things where there comes a point where I have to be held accountable. Yes, there's some bad systems in place. There's some laws and rules in place that probably put me in a bad situation. But there comes a point where I have to be accountable and say, I need to do something different. I need to be educated on this. I did something wrong. And then in this situation, we're saying, well, this guy said he was a plumber. He wasn't a plumber. He needs to be held accountable. I feel there's situations where we pick and choose as a people where we should be held accountable. I think we should be held accountable across the board when we make bad decisions. But everybody doesn't feel that way. I also feel that there's narratives put out there. And again, I deal with it every day where the narrative is always the man is bad. And we see situations when we talk about different situations where we talk about trust and the breakdown. And I've done a lot of research today, and there was never an article, there was never a story, a research article that talked about the woman's impact in the breakdown and trust of the Black community. It was always the man. The man does this.
What do you think that women's impact is? What do you think it is?
Again, I don't know. There was no research for me to research. As far as we know, Black women are perfect. And again, I wanted to find research where I wanted to come with y'all from both ends. What the man did, the woman did, contribute. I couldn't find anything. And it hurt me to read an article. What at the end she said, niggas ain't shit. And this is from a sister.
So you think that the general attitude is that Black women are perfect? And
I'm just saying there's no research to support other than.
Tall Pump said, how does that correlate to accountability?
Again, we talked about several things. I feel people should be accountable across the board. Black men should be accountable for their actions. Black women should be accountable for their actions.
Okay. Now, just to bring a little bit of clarity, I'm sure I was the one that made the comment about systemic racism when we start talking about mortgages. Yes. And the idea that when we talk about generational wealth, that systemic racism has been incorporated in the American fabric to keep Black ownership at a minimum. So at the end of the day, well, we're going to take those as examples, Rebel.
And they don't have to be examples for you. They are my examples.
Well, okay. So, but to get back to the point, what I was saying was not so much about the reality of Black people getting a mortgage, then they get a bailout, then they get a mortgage, then they get a bailout, then they get a mortgage, then they get a bailout. I would say more times than not, that is not the experience that a lot of Black people have. And at the end of the day, what I was saying is that we have to understand and address that some of what causes individuals to lose those mortgages and not have the means by which to pay for those mortgages is directly related to systemic racism and what's been baked into our fabric, our American fabric. So that I just want to clarify, because I didn't say just keep getting bailed out. That's not by any stretch the impression that I'm giving. Just keep getting bailed out. I am, on the other hand, saying there are a lot of reasons why that failure happens, more than just what that individual did or did not do on their own personally. There's some stuff that is systemically baked into the fabric that helps that failure to be very high in probability. So I just want to clarify that. Now, when we get to accountability, Jonna, accountability and the level of trust, can you talk to me on that? Can you talk to me about what you feel as far as accountability coming into play and our ability to trust or not? And how far are we talking about stretching this accountability? Because my scenario here on tonight's stream, to me, has been like, you're asking me to really go so far above and beyond what accountability should say. Okay, enough is enough. And at the end of the day, trust is completely eroded, in my opinion. Can you speak to that?
We've got to tell the truth. We got to tell the black ass truth. And that's what came up in my spirit, and that's what I'm gonna say tonight. We got to tell the truth. And as far as women on this, we got to tell the truth as to why we have trust issues with the black man, and we have to tell the truth on our experiences, and we have to be able to tell that to a listening ear. And then we have to be able, the opposite side, women and the men, we have to be able to listen and hear with an open heart. And I don't feel like that's happening, because, all around the world about this suit, I'm like, I understand no, I don't understand it. It was, the whole argument to me was ridiculous. If you're not prepared to do the job, you're not prepared. And we don't tell the truth on it. And then we get all caught up in stuff and we never deal with the real issues. Does that make sense?
Yes. Response, Tyrone, do you have a response?
I totally agree.
So then how do we stop and eliminate? Because I think this becomes, okay, so let's take tonight. Can we dissect tonight? Yeah. So we had a whole tremendous conversation about whether or not to embrace the idea that this, okay. I got Nathan coming in.
We got a call?
Yeah, I got a call coming in. Let me see if I can.
It's our
first call.
Nathan, can you hear me?
I hear everybody. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, saints and friends, and all of the simplers out there in the world listening on today. Look, I'm all about, and I agree with what everybody's saying. But I would like to say that when it comes to, the plumber showing up, I'm all about second chances and things of that nature. But at the same time, we have to be honest, like Donna said. If you're not, baby, you ain't ready for this right now. And it's okay to, the problem, the issue is when we patty cake people, we know you ain't ready. And I mean, are you supposed to pat him on the back and say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna send you some referrals. Good job." He ain't even equipped to even do the job. And so you might be the best plumber in the world. I'm not taking away from him being a plumber. You might be the best plumber in the world, but the best plumber in the world showed up today unprepared. Period. I'm gonna get on off of here. All right, y'all have a good day. I love y'all.
We love you too, Nathan. Calling in. Okay, so I think he's bringing up the point, which is valid. At the point that even if you're the best plumber in the world, if you showed up today unprepared, you're unprepared. You're not gonna get the job today. Expectation and the fact that even at this point, now I saw Oso saying maybe our expectations are too high. Maybe our expectation. So am I supposed to have a gutter expectation on the plumber? Am I supposed to have a gutter expectation on the plumber and be satisfied? I mean, and I'm saying gutter as in too low. How low can you go? Can you drop all the way down low? Can you, I feel like I'm doing that. What was that dance? How low can you go? Can you get down low? How low? I mean, how low can I go? Oh my goodness. So
and I would say you should never lower your expectations for anything in life.
I don't
you
think
don't feel
so.
if you don't feel a person is at your level, their services are what you expected, you should never lower your expectations for anyone. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all have different levels of what we expect from people, whether it's service wise, whether it's personal, whether it's business, whatever it is. We have expectations and we have levels. That's just naturally who we are as people, and you should never lower your expectations.
And I'm agreed 200% with that. And so now we've got a thing. Expectations has come into play as far as our ability to interact and relate with one another. Expectations, I'm agree with you, Tyrone, should never be lowered. But then we have this idea, since oh no, oh so I'm going to respect you here. We have this idea that we can be in a place where expectations are too high. Then can we in our society? So if this is where we keep having a breakdown with black men and black women, at what point do we just say we're not a good match for each other? And I'm not even talking about in relationship as far as some kind of intimate relationship. I'm talking about in this instance, it was a business relationship. It can be just a platonic kind of. At what point do we just have the ability to say, okay, this just isn't a good fit for us? But then the question right behind that, at what point then is it going to be like we're just going to stay in this great divide because we never can come together? I'm just trying to hear something that makes sense to me. I haven't heard anything yet tonight that makes sense to me. So even like tonight, this conversation has been a great conversation. The chat is going. I appreciate all of you that are talking in the chat. Y'all are really going at it over there. Thank you. No, also was 100%. He been all caps and everything. What you mean?
No, I said no, and we got a call. Like I was.
And we okay. Yeah. I thought you said no help at all. Okay, I misunderstood what you said. I turned my hearing aid up. So I'm like. The energy, and I'm gonna come here, Tyrone. The energy that females, and I'm gonna take a little bit of liberty here. I know I don't speak for all females, but I'm gonna say in majority. The energy that it takes females to work through a conversation like what we had here tonight causes women to just walk away and say, I'm done. Because that conversation required such a tremendous amount of energy. So then men are, if I go with what we experienced here, are feeling like they're not being heard all the way out. Would that be accurate? Or you're not being heard? Do you feel in this conversation tonight that your points of view were not fully understood and because you did an excellent job continuing to express your point of view. And I'm going to say the more you talk, the more tired I got. Because but now I'm still here.
That explains most conversations between men and women.
But I'm still here. I didn't walk away.
So you get an award. You're still here. I was making a point, and you said the more I talk, you got tired. So that's typically what our dynamic is as men and women.
So how do we?
You said to have a conversation like this would be so much energy for them to have that they would just walk away. And then for me being a man saying that I'm having a conversation expressing my thoughts and my opinion and my feelings, you're saying it made you tired.
Yeah, because at some point it is like I'm still
because I didn't agree with your opinion. It drained you.
It's not about you agreeing with my opinion, sweetheart.
How else am I supposed to take that? You said the more you talked, I got tired.
Because so is egging you on over here, just so you know, in case you're missing.
I'm not even looking at the comments, but I appreciate him joining us today.
I'm just okay. So what the fatigue for me, and I can only speak for myself. What the fatigue for me is something that seems like it's extremely obvious, but we're beating a dead horse with no progress.
Okay.
And while I hear, listen, I see you, Brother Damon. Brother Damon's out there agreeing with you. Brother Damon's out
I
there
mean,
agreeing.
because think about it. If this was flipped, and we were having a dialogue, and I looked at you and said, the more I listen to you talk, I'm just getting tired. How would that be taken as a male saying that to a female? And we're living in a world where everybody wants to be equal and everybody wants to be on the same level. You said the more you talked, I got tired.
And I'm just pointing out a dynamic. Then what I would say is that if you said that to me, I would say, okay, let's take a break. Both of us regroup. And then let's come back, because I'm not going to drop the conversation, because I do want to get to a place where we come to a consensus or an agreement.
But that didn't happen because I'm engaged in the conversation, and you said
I'm engaged.
So do you need to take a break?
I probably do about the plumber, because I just cannot for the life of me understand how there is a mindset that the accountability of this individual any way, shape, or form. John is cracking up. I just the whole element of accountability. And so it's like I'm just like, what else do we need? I'm not understanding what else we need. And so, but I'm using this. I'm really not trying to be funny, Tyrone. I'm really using this as an experience to say, this is exactly what I think happens in the community. And this is exactly why we have the impasse that never gets fixed. But I'm just trying to tell you, is John still with us? Somebody say, is John still with us?
I'm here.
I'm just trying to say that this is exactly, and I saw Brother Damon said something. Let me scroll back up and see if I can catch it. This is how the communication in the Black community becomes very, very strangulated. And so the energy, the everything just gets really, really up there. And then at some point it just starts to dwindle, because it seems like we're at an impasse that'll never work. So Damon talked about the walk away part. When I was saying the walk away, I'm not saying to walk away without resolution. I'm saying everybody retreat to the corner, take some time, think about it, process it. Because sometimes even in my processing, it might be, when I walked away, I'm thinking about the different things that you've said to me, Tyrone. I'm thinking about your different points of view. I'm reviewing all of that, and I'm doing a reassessment when I'm not as emotionally charged, when I'm not as in the moment, and step back from it a little bit, give it some review, and then come back and continue conversation at the point that we can continue on. But I think that in honesty, just like I'm trying to express here, is that I think sisters get tired, Jonna, and I'm gonna jump out and I'm gonna let you come in.
Tired does not even begin to describe it. It is exhausting, and this tonight has just proved it. Even last week when we came in talking about the Black women's mental health and the progress, and to me it was like an immediate change of direction, because me too. Then tonight we're talking about trust and accountability, and then we have to go into extreme detail to defend a plumber in a 3-piece suit with no tools and no car. And men talk about being shut down and just having to walk away. Baby, I've been gone from this since 6:45. That's why I've been sitting here looking like this, because it's time wasted. And it seems like no matter what is said, there's going to be some kind of rebuttal, no matter how ridiculous, anything to shut your mouth and keep you down. That's what it feels like to me. Just anything. Yeah, there's a man outside in a tutu and a crown, and he's getting ready to dig up the street. It's ridiculous. So it's like, you know what? Let me just sit here and listen.
Well, this may be a good segue part, and so we no. Also, he said, now we see how the Black women views us. Now, so this is what I'm going to say here. And so Chris jumped in and said no resolution. I see, and so this is typical. So what we have seen is probably a very typical dynamic. True enough. This is why, and part of the reason why I said I wanted to come this route first and have the conversation. This is why I believe we need folks like Beauty for You, Dr. Dady Priest, and other people that are skilled and educated to come into these types of conversations to help to mediate, because they get strangulated like this almost every time. And what it points out is that we really, really have an issue between the genders. We really have an issue. There's really an issue here, because even tonight, I got probably the majority of the sisters on one side, probably a good number of brothers that are seeing other perspectives on the other side. The males understand the male perspective, the females understand the female perspective, but the two are not meeting. The two are not coming together. Now, if we just take this as an example, can you imagine what our communities are like when we're trying to raise our children, when we're trying to do all of these different things that we need to do? Do you imagine how we are constantly unable to reach the level of success that we want to meet, because we can't get out of this kind of cycle? We can't get out of this kind of cycle. And to me, this is just a manifestation of that. Hey, Chicken Wing Doom, good to have you here. So it's like, so at the end of the day, I wanted to have this conversation, and I really did talk about bringing in some professionals for the conversation, but I didn't want the conversation with the professionals in it. I wanted to have a conversation with just us and see how we resolved the conversation. And as we see, the situation is not resolved. Chris, hashtag no resolution. No resolution. And so what it says to me, and this is the reason why I really wanted to have the conversation, because in our honesty, I felt like we were going to get strangulated, because it always does. But we keep trying to build and have a community. Oh no, Oso said he feels your pain, Tyrone. We keep trying to have a community that doesn't communicate. And so y'all know we're going to have some problems if we can't even communicate. Yes, Mel, there's going to have to be a meeting of the minds. And so we just keep on from generation to generation, tugging along and plugging on and on and on, like somehow it's going to resolve on its own, but it ain't going to resolve itself. We're still here. We're still here. And I don't think we're any farther along than before, you know. So I'm gonna let y'all jump in and say something.
I mean,
Let's be quiet.
I don't want to put anyone to sleep or have people check out, so I'll let Jonna handle it.
Oh Jesus. Oh Jesus.
Lord, we need. I should go into prayer. Father, I want to come to you tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Praying, Lord, open up the minds, the hearts, and the ears of the people. Help us, Lord. We need your help. And that's all I can say. We need your help.
Amen.
Come in the room. Amen.
Amen. Amen. So go ahead, Tyrone.
Oh no, I was reading it and I thought she said she needed all of us to get alone. I was like, alone, but I think she meant to get along.
Uh-huh.
That's what made me laugh. I was like, alone? But okay.
Go ahead, Tyrone.
I mean, it's this conversation, like many conversations that we've had. They're touchy conversations. They're tough conversations. Everyone has their experiences and their feelings. I mean, these are conversations that we'll probably never come to resolution on. But it was a very eye-opening conversation, I would say, for me. But that's part of life. So yeah, it was good.
Thank you. Now this is what we're gonna do. And just Jonna, we know you're not sleepy.
I mean, she said she checked out at 6:45, so she should be rested.
Continue, Regina.
So at the end of the day, this is what I'd like for us to do. I would like for us to have Tyrone, an opportunity for you to have some other brothers in here to share point of view, to bring them in, possibly bring in some, because I want to try to stay as neutral as possible, have some other sisters to come in and share with Jana as well. And that, not saying everybody's going to have the same perspective and the same point of view, but just having a little more mix up. But with that, I would also like to have professionals in here to help to govern, guide, and mediate. Because we listen, y'all praying for Jesus, but listen, there's some stuff we're gonna have to work through, y'all. We are going to have to. Brother Damon got his hand up. He said he's ready to come in. So we'll do this again, and we'll have some more brothers in here and try to balance it out and have a nice conversation that's open, that allows for some dialogue, but with a professional, with the professional in the room, so that we can hopefully figure out some ways so that our viewing audience doesn't just see us have this conversation, but I want us to get to a place of modeling how we can get the resolution. How do y'all feel about that?
I mean, I think that'd be great.
John, are you open for that?
Yeah. I am. Seriously, I am. Absolutely.
Okay, so Chicken Wing came in and said, now, as far as women, African American, black, whatever, you want to call yourself, we need to start lifting brothers up and keeping them open for emotional conversation, and maybe you'll get the results you're looking for, but then don't diss him for being emotional and open to you, because then he's not being a man. So that's just, you're speaking your opinion. I feel you. I hear you, Chicken Wing. I hear you, Chicken Wing. Okay. And so appreciate your input. Appreciate your input very much so. So bless you. Now, wow. Let's come back. I know Tall Pumps. We just gonna let that go.
Yeah. Even I'm like, what?
Danny Dean, Daniel Andre Dean. Women are not always right. Men are not always right. One problem is, in a conversation, one tries to prove they are right. We have to learn to listen to one another, whether we like what we hear or not. Good observation, Daniel. Good observation. That's my guy. That's good observation. So let's do this. We're going to come back and we're going to continue the conversation next time around, because at the end of the day, I want to trust my black brothers. I want my black brothers to trust me. I don't think that we're going to make any progress if we can't get over this molehill, if we can't get over this mountain. We've got to make progress. We've got to make progress, and we've got to give our young people something different. We have to respectfully agree to disagree at times. I hear you, Lawanda. I hear you. Very good. I appreciate everybody's input that's been in the chat tonight. Nathan, I appreciate you for calling in. That call in was great. And I want to thank Tyrone. You did an excellent job. You held your ground. You held your
as position. Always. Yeah.
As always, baby, as always. And then, Jonna, I want to appreciate you for hanging on, Shelly Thunder. Oh my goodness. Royal Confessions. Oh, wow. Royal Confessions is in the room. Oh my goodness. We are so glad. Royal Confessions, we miss you, girl. Lord Jesus. Mel said, do some more research. Oh, Michelle, she loves her some Tyrone.
Thank you.
Bless her heart.
I love you too, Tyrone. And Jonna loves you too. She really does.
I do. I absolutely do. 100%.
Oh my goodness. Y'all the cracks. So listen, you guys have done a great job. I'm gonna get ready to jump out of here because I think we're at our time. And please know, Tyrone, even in what I was saying, you didn't make me tired to the point that I just don't want to hear you no more. I was trying to address how I feel it often occurs in our conversation when we try and people's energy just starts going in different places. And I just wanted to be a person to bring that to the table so we could address that. But I appreciate you. You didn't make me tired, baby. Yes, Tyrone keeps it interesting. He really, really does. We're gonna go men first, and then we're gonna close out with Jonna. And Jonna opened us up, so we're gonna give them both chances. I want to say thank you to everybody that came in here tonight. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And they're gonna have the last say, and we're gonna get up out of here.
Well, I'm gonna say always a good conversation as always, and of course, I mean, if it's not a thought provoking, emotional provoking conversation, why are we here? We're not always gonna agree, because if we all agreed, why are we here? I will say, my biggest point out of everything, and a lot of times I say things just to get the thought going, is that we have to come to a point, especially when we look into, the younger generation coming behind us, we have to get to a point where we start to like reprogram our brains. And when we talk about the trust and the breakdown of trust within our community, there's fault on both sides. For me, someone who does a lot of research and works in a field where the man is always wrong, I'm trying to, as much as I can, show that there's fault on both sides. And as we work on those things together, we will continue to unify our community. But we can't keep trying to push a narrative and saying, I'm trying to unify the community, but the only narrative being put out there is one-sided. So as we continue to grow as a community, we all have to acknowledge our faults, and where we can come together and embrace each other and figure out a better plan so that we can continue to grow as a community. Because I will say, personally, I feel our biggest downfall for our community is the breakdown that we have amongst ourselves. I feel if we're stronger together, we can conquer and do anything. So we have to get to a point where we're able to identify our flaws and our issues, work on them, and come together to make us stronger than ever. Because one thing I was always told as a kid by my mom is together we can do anything. So as long as we have those breakdowns, we can't blame anybody else for the struggle of us at this point. We have to come together and make us stronger so that we can do great things together. So my only point across the board, and hope you guys enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you, Tyrone. Jonna?
I would agree with some of those points. We do have some work that needs to be done within the community before we can look outward. People always say you got to start somewhere, and that's what we did. We started somewhere. I don't know where, but it's all good.
Yes. Yes.
Amen.
Yes. Amen. Let the church say amen. And to everybody that came in tonight, again, I want to appreciate you for coming into this night's edition of Yes, You with Friends. We're here every Sunday night at 6:00 p.m. I appreciate you. For those that are those of you that are in Twitch, you hang with us and ride this raid train. We appreciate you. And you know how we always go out of here. Peace for your journey. Thank you.